Hello and welcome to Physiological Factors Screencast. Today's focus is going to be on the aerobic pathway. Okay, so this is going to be a particular focus looking towards a potential 20 mark question. I'll give you a couple of potential threads that could run through if you got the aerobic energy system as part 1 as a 20. So obviously you're looking here now, I'll put in this bit link in the aerobic energy system to periodization and aerobic training. Now on top of this I should just make that clear that there's a good chance that you could get aerobic adaptation as a part 2 for this. I haven't put it in this screencast, but just be aware that that could also be a potential link. So if you have a look here, as I said previously on these screencasts that are looking at 20 mark questions, that you have to get a kind of scenario, or you have to get a link between part 1 and part 2 and part 3, part 3, part 1. Okay, so what we're looking at here then, I'm just going to give you this one. So we've looked at aerobic and anaerobic energy systems looking into strength. Now we need to have a look at aerobic energy system into aerobic capacity and periodization. So if we have a look onto here then, this would be the thread that could flow through this question. Now obviously, slow oxidative type 1 fibers, you got your type 1 there, and then that would link to the aerobic system, that would link to aerobic capacity training. It would also link to periodization, which I haven't put on here, but that's going to be a part 2. Secondly, of course, you've got ergogenic aids, heavily examined in last summer's 20 mark question, and of course, very easily linked to aerobic capacity. So again, this will not be in this screencast, but it would just be worth making sure you have an understanding of the pharmacological aids, physiological aids and nutritional aids that would be beneficial for an aerobic performer such as a marathon runner. Okay, and make sure as I've talked about in previous screencasts, that you can categorize them and you have a good idea of how they would aid a marathon runner. Okay, so let's have a look then. This is a question I'm going to focus on for this screencast, and I'm sure you can make some little adaptations to yourself to kind of cover all bases with regard to a 20 mark question with the stem of aerobic energy system. Now straight away as you look into here, you've got to critically evaluate the use of the aerobic energy system. I mean, as soon as that happens, you've got straight into assessment objective 3. The tip I'm going to give you here, if it says critically evaluate or evaluate in a 20 mark question, it means you have to explain it before you evaluate it. It's vitally important. Okay, if it's a short question, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it just needs strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so the 20 mark question requires you to explain what you're evaluating first. And so I've put part 2 here, 6-month training program that will develop aerobic capacity for the marathon runner. Justify your program by referring to the theory of periodization. So this will be kind of a process here. Now 6-month training program should draw your attention to the fact when you're talking here to periodization that you should know we're talking about macro cycles there, and then within that we need to talk about meso and micro. I'll put in stars here the principles of training. Now the principles of training could never be asked for within the question because it's not specification referenced. However, if you added this into a 20 mark question and talked a little bit about it within a 20 mark question linked to periodization and aerobic training, you will be credited for it. It will be on the mark scheme. So that's the difference between those bits. So let's start off then, have a quick look at remind ourselves of the aerobic system. So I'll go through the aerobic system very quickly. Again, at this time it's not really a chance for you to learn it. Hopefully this will just be a little recap. So if we look at it here, first stage, aerobic glycolysis, site of reaction muscle sarcoplasm. So when we start this off, of course, you'll be very familiar to what we've done with kind of the glycolytic system. Of course, now we have oxygen present, which will have a big impact on the pathway and the process of pyruvic acid. So if we start off then, first part, glycogen broken down by the enzyme GPP or glycogen phosphorylase into glucose. Okay, next bit. Glucose is then broken down by PFK into pyruvic acid, and at this point 2 ATP are resynthesized. Now because oxygen is present now, pyruvic acid does not convert into lactic acid via LDH. Okay, what it does is it then combines with an enzyme called coenzyme A to form acetyl-CoA. So from that point there, pyruvic acid combines with coenzyme A to form acetyl-CoA, and then acetyl-CoA will then combine with oxaloacetic acid to form citric acid. Now, for those struggling with these combinations here, it's not the end of the world if you don't do it, but obviously it does demonstrate technical vocabulary in a long answer. So it's just worth having an idea of those if you feel like that isn't too much. Now, once we've combined acetyl-CoA with oxaloacetic acid to form citric acid, we're then at the point where we go into our second stage of the aerobic system. So at this point, we enter the Krebs cycle. Okay, when the site of reaction for this is the mitochondria matrix. Okay, so once we're in the Krebs cycle, we then need to make sure we can have an understanding of three key products as a result of citric acid entering the Krebs cycle. So firstly, we've got CO2. Secondly, 2-ATP. And thirdly, we have hydrogen. Now, I'm just going to make a quick point on this now, if you want to add this to it. It is at this point, but it's not referenced in the actual kind of process of the aerobic energy system, that fats are used. So fats are used via beta oxidation at this point of the Krebs cycle. So fats are utilized within the Krebs cycle to allow us to produce the ATP there. So you're not expected to know it. You don't have to put it at the right site. You could just mention fats at some point in your answer. You'll be fine. If you could add the posh phrase of beta oxidation, the ability to break down fats, that would be great. So just as a bit of information there, additional extra you could put on. Now, once we've got our 2-ATP resynthesized, CO2 we can expire out, okay, and hydrogen is the thing that we need to make sure we keep in our heads, because as soon as hydrogen leaves, is oxidized out of the Krebs cycle, what happens here is this idea that hydrogen needs to then move into electron transfer chain. Now, before it can move into electron transfer chain, it has to bind with two electron carriers. And the two electron carriers are NAD and FAD, okay, and this then, as a result of H combining with NAD and FAD, it is then NADH and FADH. So NADH and FADH will then enter the electron transfer chain. Now, the electron transfer chain takes place in the mitochondria cristae. This is stage 3. And of course, once we have the electron carriers, or the electron within the electron carriers, we then have a situation where we need to transfer the electron in order to produce our massive energy of resynthesis of ATP. So we've got now, this will lead to us resynthesizing 34 ATP. Okay, and on top of that, due to the fact we're respiring aerobically, oxygen will go in to the electron transfer chain, and at the moment that oxygen goes in, obviously we have hydrogen in there. Hydrogen will bind with oxygen to form H2O. Now, obviously, if you want to talk about the idea of the electron splitting, the ion splitting from the electron, you're more than welcome to do that at that point, but as long as you have something to do with the fact that after NADH and FADH enter the electron transfer chain, that process will lead to the resynthesis of 34 ATP. Okay, so that's the process. That's the explanation. I think, in a 20-mark question, if it asks you to evaluate, it's vital that you talk about this first. For those who want to see this in action, maybe you can have a look at this and pause now and just have a look, see if you can fit in the correct things where required. So I'll give you a second to just do that. So if that's that then, that's the aerobic system. Now what we need to do is get to the assessment objective 3 stuff. We need to get to this idea of how we're going to evaluate the aerobic system. Now, to do that, really useful, as before, that we use the acronym FATI-BC. This acts as a summary to say what the fuels are used. Obviously, we've now got this idea, but I've left the summary for this, and what I want you to do is to use it as the evaluation framework. So what you've got here then is, obviously, we have the fuels used. It uses glycogen and glucose as the glycolytic system does, but more importantly, we have fats. Okay, so fats can then provide 2 to 3 more times energy, or we synthesize 2 to 3 more times energy than glucose in terms of ATP, and of course that is a massive, as you'll know from other areas of specification. By doing that, by using fat, it allows us to spare our glycogen by the process of glycogen sparing for the important parts of the race where we need to work anaerobically. So from there then, okay, the downside to fat is that it takes 15% more oxygen to utilize fats, so we need to get in, and of course that means that we have to wait longer for it, as we'll talk about in a second. So mean, you could add into here the oxygen delay if you wanted to. The cause is takes longer to get the oxygen through the aerobic system in order to utilize fats. Okay, so if we go down from there, then another disadvantage, it needs oxygen. In order for any of the reactions to happen, oxygen needs to be kind of utilised, and I suppose that is that link to kind of there is a 3-minute oxygen delay. Time, the advantage is that it gives us 3 minutes up to 5 hours. Energy yield, okay, it has an energy yield of 38 ATP in total. 34 plus 2 plus 2. On top of that, there are no harmful byproducts, just CO2 and H2O, which we can respire or sweat out. And then the last C there, the complexity of reactions, is very complex reactions, which could be cited as a disadvantage. I put the key site there, supporting examples, and we can kind of move on from there. If that's the aerobic system, then part 2 was looking at this idea of devising a 6-month training program. As soon as you see the word training program, that gives you the link that it would be linked to periodization. In this case, they've told you they want periodization, and therefore we know that periodization is going to be key. Now, what I've just done first here is periodization. If we're going to do a training program to improve the fitness of a marathon runner, we need to consider our 2 key training types for aerobic capacity. So if you're looking at that, I'll let you have a quick look at these. Continuous, obviously, quick description, and an idea behind this here. Then if we go to high intensity interval training, we could put that in here. Now, what is really, really, really important here is that, and I've put in green, these are the ranges for a high intensity interval training session. Okay, so for your work period, you'd be looking at 80 to 95% of your max heart rate. Okay, and a relief period 50%. Now, if this was a marathon runner and they were aiming to do kind of something that was specific to them, their time would be nearer, so their percentage of their max heart rate would be closer to 80%. Now, you'd put the range, and then you'd say, but for a marathon runner, they would be looking at somewhere closer to 80%. The reason why is because when you get to the time range on their work period, that will come from somewhere between 5 seconds and 8 minutes. So this is really important in that, if you're a marathon runner, your high intensity interval will be working closer towards the 5 to 8 minute period. Therefore, it will be impossible to get 95% of your max heart rate for 5 to 8 minutes. So just a little bit of specificity there with regard to kind of linking it to the exam question. These are right. These are correct, but obviously you're just showing a little bit of extra knowledge if you feel comfortable with that, linking it to a marathon runner. So some examples there. So high intensity runs, as marathon runners will call them efforts, but we'll put that down there for now. So that's kind of what it is. Obviously, if the question evaluated, you could talk a little bit about the evaluation sections. This time I didn't put evaluate in there, so I'm just going to ask you to move on to the next section. So the key focus now then is looking at this idea of how we would apply the process of periodization / training program. So the method or a plan of attack I'd ask you to go for this would be, right, we've got to make sure we've got kind of a method of evaluating aerobic capacity, firstly, because this is a training program. A training program requires a baseline pre-test, and then that test can be repeated to see how the training program's gone. So there's examples here. Good exam practice anyway. Maybe have a good go at describing and giving a couple of advantages and disadvantages of those. And then down from here, periodization definition, periodization cycles, phases of training, tapering. On here, main principle of training you're focusing on is overload, that you apply the fit principle to, and make sure when you get to the description of the 2 types of training that we've just looked at, that you give a good enough description to allow you to get a decent mark for that. I'll put over here the principles of training that you could use and apply to it. It's not referenced in the spec, but it would look good in a 20-mark question. Okay, so periodization, let's have a quick look at what you'd be expected to do for that. There's your definition there. Really important that you can make sure that whatever the question kind of scenario is, that you link your macro, meso, micro cycles to the specific focus of a marathon runner. Now, the question told us it was 6 months. Okay, so 6 months, you had to 6 months training program. So straight away, your example must be to run a marathon in 6 months. That's your macro cycle, your long-term goal. Now, on top of that, meso cycle, medium-term plan, 1 to 4 months. And the key thing here is you're talking about the component of fitness that the performer, the marathon runner, would aim to improve. Easy, aerobic capacity. Finally, your microcycle, you're looking at that short-term plan. So now we're looking at the 1 session to 3 week period, and this is where we'd have to give an example. For example, performing something like continuous or HIIT training within the individual sessions that we're taking part in. Now, On top of that, it'd be really, if it talked about periodization, it referenced it, it'd be massively important to make sure we do not forget phases of training. So our phases of training linked to preparatory, competitive, transition, and make sure it's linked to marathon runner when you're giving your application to examples, e.g., e.g. Tapering, okay, a real scope for evaluation here, reducing intensity prior to the event to maintain preserved glycogen, advantages, we've got the stuff here, disadvantages here, really important. Of course, that is a likely little kind of 2 to 3 mark question, so a really important one to put on there. And I've just made here, just make these key bits, just mention these with regard to the link to the marathon runner.